Welcome into Fantasy Unclean. I am your host, Rich Fiddler, joined as always by Scott Robley and Frodo Carvel.
I did not think you were going to get the intro there. Frodo was ready. I looked over. Frodo was ready to go for the intro, and you hit it just in time.
I got it. We're
That's
good.
That's good.
I had faith.
You had faith. I did not. I had no
Gotta
faith.
have faith,
No.
the faith.
It's probably better not to have any faith.
Well, my bar's pretty low, so I mean,
That's fair. That's fair. Can't really argue with that one at all.
So what's still going on, fellas? What are we doing?
we are in football week.
It's officially week one.
Real life
we
football.
we have reached football season,
Yeah.
and not like fake football preseason stuff. But this is
Right.
actual. This is actual football.
Right.
Like we are here.
Uh-huh.
This matters.
I think maybe
Yes.
what I need to do is like put a screen on that side, so that way you're like have a wall.
Yeah,
that you
can't
get
can't
past.
slide any further.
It's hard, man. Like
It
that,
really
that
is.
side is very
'Cause
hard.
you just like as you go, you just
'Cause
lean.
you look
At least
in-
now I can see the fucking thing.
Right, so now you got
I
that
can
right
slide
there.
back
Yeah.
up, yeah.
Yeah. So week one is here. My Super Bowl is here. This is
is
it.
your Super Bowl.
Week one is my Super Bowl.
This is the only game Scott cares about winning this year. Only game.
Lose every other game.
I don't give a
this
fuck.
year. Couldn't care less. We won this season. We're having a parade. I'm getting a Geno Smith jersey.
And what happens if it's purely on the defense and Russell Wilson just plays like shit?
Because this defense knows how he plays.
Right.
They've been playing against him for 10 years.
It would
Yeah.
be
It
hilarious.
would be amazing. It would be amazing. And by the way, you guys, I'm sure that you guys heard the clip that, or maybe not the clip, but the statement that he joined the Broncos because he was tired of carrying the team himself.
You mean like the run game and the defense did?
Like the run game and the defense won him a Super Bowl and got him to the next one.
Hey, you know
and
what?
then when his contract started, it started eating away at both the defense and the run game until eventually he had to carry it all himself and couldn't
Wasn't there a Super Bowl where they relied on Russell Wilson and
for one play.
for one play,
One play.
and it didn't happen?
Look, I will invite him back into my open arms again someday to retire in the Seahawks Hall of Fame, and I will be excited for him when that happens. Today, this week specifically, not happy. Not happy about it. Fuck that guy.
Let's ride.
He's so fake.
The NFL knew what they were doing with week one this year because there were so many
Yeah.
big changes that happened
Yeah.
roster-wise, players moving and all that stuff. They did it correctly.
Yeah.
Because this isn't the only like revenge game to start the season by any means whatsoever.
No.
Right.
So it's gonna be a fun week one.
It is. We do have some new notes. Speaking of Russell Wilson, I guess we can hang on to that one until later. Fuck it, we already started. Yeah. Russell Wilson got a new contract, $49 million a year through 2028.
Yeah.
So he is doing good. He's doing just fine for himself. I mean he's the second highest paid quarterback on a yearly basis.
Mahomes is still number one, right?
I think so. And I think Kyler Murray is right behind him. But whatever. I mean, I don't know how to be a GM in the NFL because if you get an elite quarterback, you have to pay to keep him. But if you pay to keep him, you cannot legitimately win. You cannot have a good enough, deep enough team
Correct.
to be competitive.
You have to be good in the draft to be able to afford it.
You have to be perfect in the draft
Yep.
to be able to afford it.
Look at the Patriots.
Yes. Those guys are really good at drafting, and they're also good at maximizing talent that's on its last leg.
They suck at drafting. Their last draft, like 5 years of drafts, have sucked.
Yeah.
What kept them aboard was their superstar quarterback, Tom Brady, being sacrificial
Yeah.
and
100%.
sacrificing his income to
Yeah.
make sure they won. And that's lost now on a lot of teams. It's the me.
Right. And look, it's hard to argue with the fact that these guys spend their whole lives to play this game, and they could stop. They could get hurt tomorrow and never play again.
Yeah.
And so I understand that you want to get as much money as you possibly can, but you can't tell me that, you're pissed that that you had to carry the Seahawks
Right.
for the last couple of years when you're the reason that you had to carry the Seahawks for
Right.
the last couple of years. So whatever, I'm over it. Clearly.
I want to see like a career high amount of sacks against Russell Wilson in this game. That'd be hilarious.
I know. I want him to do some of that Russell Wilson magic and then get picked off. Like Jamal Adams.
Yeah.
That requires Jamal Adams catching the ball.
Yeah, right? Yeah, I know. Fuck. Whatever. I can't get to my notes. So I'll get to it eventually here.
A couple good signs, a couple players coming back. James Robinson
Yeah.
got cleared, and looks like he's starting week 1 for the Jags.
Yeah.
I saw a sleeper update come across that Chris Godwin got out of his knee brace
Yep.
in practice, so it looks
That's
like
good. And they've been doing a really good job of keeping the load measured with him.
Yeah.
So
He knows he knows the schemes.
Yeah.
He knows the
Yeah.
playbook. It's not like he needs to be there every day doing everything. As long as he's getting his workouts in and it isn't going to blow out his hamstring as soon
Right.
as he starts playing, it's fine.
Michael Gallup also. It looks like he's headed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So those were the kind of big ones coming in where they weren't sure if they were going to miss time or.
Right.
Going on with my computer.
We saw that Christian Watson,
Yep.
he should be back, but apparently Alan Lazard has some sort of an injury.
Yeah, so Alan Lazard is not likely for week 1, which sort of came out of nowhere. So if Christian Watson is back, we're not worried. We're not looking at a full-time load for him. He's not. Aaron Rodgers is not going to trust Christian Watson week 1 as the number 1 guy. So it's going to probably fall to some of the other guys. And so far in camp, he's been talking a lot about Sammy Watkins.
Yep.
And Sammy Watkins does his thing.
He'll have his fun week 1 right off the bat.
Yeah, so push all your chips in on Sammy Watkins on your DFS.
And then forget him.
And then trade him.
Also saw something for AJ Green. AJ Green could have a good week 1 because everybody else is fucking hurt right now.
Everybody's gone.
Marquise Brown and
Yep.
Ertz, is he going to be in?
Is not likely to play week 1.
He started practicing again, but he's not.
But
likely
everything
to
is
play.
saying he's not likely to play week 1. So it could be a very slimmed down roster for week 1.
Yeah, and they're playing the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Good luck, guys.
Yeah.
I'm not. Okay, so I guess in terms of our week 1, I mean, do we want to just get right into week 1?
Or do we could go over?
We can do our. Okay.
Yeah, let's do those first.
Yeah.
So Rich posed the question
Scott
to all
did.
of us, or Scott did. Okay, I was trying to give you credit.
No, I don't want it.
To be honest, we're going for each conference. So MC, AFC. What's one player that has the widest possible outcomes,
Yes.
and what's one team
Fantasy outcomes. Yeah.
and a team that has the widest possible outcomes as
Widest
well.
range of outcomes in terms of. So if you think a team, that. Do they have a shot at a Super Bowl, and could you see them losing their division?
Yeah.
That sort of a thing.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I'll start right out of the gate with we'll go players first.
Okay.
I think one of my big players that I had on there was Courtland Sutton, because Courtland Sutton is as I think a couple of us predicted, he seems to be the guy for Russell Wilson.
That's
over there.
all the talk is that he's got the best chemistry with Courtland Sutton out of everybody on the field.
Yeah, and
it's not even close from what I've
Courtland
heard.
Sutton is a really good wide receiver.
He is.
And
He's already broken out once. So.
yes.
Yeah. And he's a big receiver, and it's
everything, right.
It's the type of player that, outside of like the slot guy like Tyler Lockett, it's the type of guy that Russell Wilson likes, where he can launch that ball way up in the air and let it fall right in somebody's hands.
Moon balls.
And
50 yards down the
and
field.
Sutton's currently going as the wide receiver 17 in a half-point PPR. So Sutton could easily be a top 5 wide receiver by the end of the season on this.
Yeah.
And Jerry Judy's going in like the 10th rounds.
Yeah.
Like late.
Yes. And when Russell Wilson joined the Broncos, the talk was all about Judy, but we correctly pointed out that that's not his style of wide receiver, and that Sutton's gonna
Unless
be the guy.
he gets that type of connection like he had with Lockett.
Right. Right.
Which is not an easy thing to do.
Nope.
Because there was a lot of those plays where if it wasn't for Lockett making a miraculous grab,
Right.
that wouldn't happen. And
Right.
we haven't officially seen that from Judy.
Right.
So,
Absolutely. And so we'll see what we come up with.
Yeah.
But in terms but Judy, it's built right there into the 10th round, right? I mean, so if he's going in the 9th, 10th round, that's all accounted for.
yeah.
Sutton, you're drafting as your wide receiver too.
Yeah.
And he could be a top 5, and he could.
He has a pretty low floor, high floor. I think.
You think he's got a high floor?
I feel like he does.
I think the problem for me is the overall chemistry of this team. Is how is the overall chemistry of this team in that division, particularly? If that same team was in a different division, I would have probably gone with somebody else.
The way I look at it is I think Sutton and DK are pretty comparable in this aspect of how they're going to be used.
Yeah.
I feel like Sutton has better hands than DK does. He's probably not quite as fast because that dude's freakishly
Yeah, because
fast.
nobody's quite as fast.
Yeah. But I feel like comparably they're pretty on par with each other.
Yeah.
And Wilson and DK clicked right away. I
Yeah.
feel like they're going to be able to click in that same type of role right away.
And the reason they clicked right away was because they put in a bunch of effort off season to build that chemistry early.
And it sounds like they did the same
That's
thing
exactly
in Denver.
right.
So
Yeah. All right. So who you got?
Staying in the AFC, I'll take the low-hanging fruit, and it's not a homer because it's probably the one player that has the widest possible outcomes is Tua.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all the buzz. Does he have arm? Can he do this? He has to take the step up. This is his last chance, and he has every possible weapon at his disposal. So it all hinges on if he can perform, which I think he can. I'm seeing a lot more bravado and a lot more cockiness out of him.
Yeah.
Whereas before, like, you go to a job and you have a fucking horrible ass boss.
Yeah.
You don't want to fucking be there.
Yeah.
And just imagine just there being constantly berated and
And you're in national news every day for not being the guy or being the guy.
And not only like you and I
not
are
to
in
mention the
sales.
fact he came into the league after a god-awful injury.
Right. And so he's now starting to get healthy. I mean, it'd be like you as a mechanic. Like, imagine going in, your toolbox is there, but there's no fucking tools in it.
Yeah, that would suck.
That's exactly
That's how
what,
the receiver core was, too.
and his offensive line.
Yeah.
Literally, it's just like
Yep.
when you have no time to throw the ball, you got to be quick in just getting the ball before you get obliterated.
Yeah.
And no running game. So
And no run game to take the pressure off of that. And
I think you're getting him, like, I've taken him in every draft, and like the 12th or 13th round.
Right, he's at the back.
He can he's not going to be a top 5 probably, but he'll easily be in the top 10.
Yeah.
If he puts it together, and he could surprise people. He could eke up in like number 6 and number 7 if he does. He completely capitalizes, and you have the steal of the draft on
Right.
someone that you could stack like Cortland Sutton's and 6th, 7th, 8th round running backs, wide receivers that can really be valuable. I think he has the widest range of outcomes, and it's all dependent on him because I think he has all the tools. It's just up to him.
It's whether or not he can take the next step.
Exactly.
On that, yeah.
Whereas like some other ones, and it's kind of left right. I believe Mike McDaniels is the one at the Raiders.
Yeah.
I think his scheme, the zone blocking, he saw it a little bit in that last preseason game. They were just absolutely manhandling. Granted, it was kind of some of the backups, but it wasn't all the starters.
Yeah.
They were manhandling, gaping holes. Run game was working. I think he found a way to make that work. They got fantastic running backs, Chase Edmonds. So you have outlet passes, and if your run game takes off, it puts a lot less pressure on you.
Right.
And opens up. And he kind of has a fast receiver also.
And you have to. The good thing for Tua is the way that team is set up. It is. You can't just cover one side of the ball now.
No.
Right.
You got speed
You
coming from
have
everywhere.
to cover the receivers. But if you cover the receivers too much, you're going to get burnt out of the backfield because they have some of the fastest fucking running backs in the league.
One of the is the fastest.
Yes, exactly. So, not to mention the fact that there's always short outlet passes. Yeah, Gesicki's going to be blocking a lot more, but if he blocks a little bit and then he's underneath, he's an eligible target, and he's got great hands.
Yeah.
So, I think Gesicki's going to be way more in the run blocking and all that stuff than he is anything else. But I think that team is set up in the best possible, just like the way that the Ravens set up for Lamar Jackson.
Right.
They set that team up for him to succeed.
Exactly.
McDaniel has set this team up 100% for Tua to have his best year. If he can't do it with this, he can't be a starting quarterback. There's just this is it.
He's fantastic in motion, RPOs. That you see a lot of that, and that's the San Francisco thing. You get a lot of there's always pre-snap motions and rollouts, bootlegs. That's where Tua excels. Is probably in the top 5 quarterbacks in that role and accuracy on the move.
I saw a stat the other day, or heard a stat the other day. Over the last 3 years, when most teams have gone to more of a pass-heavy offense, the 49ers are the only team that have stuck over 50% running the ball.
And I think that's what the Dolphins are going to do now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, week 1, we're going in. We'll get into this at, but they're at home against the Patriots, who they always play well against.
Not to mention the fact that there's been no good things said about the Patriots all preseason.
And I heard a bunch of analysts saying, "Oh, their defense was top 5," but their defense is not the same. J.C. Jackson's in San Diego.
Yeah.
You don't have Stephon Gilmore no more. You don't have elite cornerbacks. And guess what's sitting on the other side of the line? Tyreek Hill and Waddle.
Right.
And players that, I mean,
now, in all fairness, Bill Belichick may figure out a way to shut Tyreek Hill down in week 1.
I don't think so.
He did it against KC numerous times, so it's not like he can't do it.
But he had a much more talented cornerback core.
And the other thing is the fact that it is week 1, and the Patriots almost always start slow. Almost always.
And I think there's a fever where Miami has to jump out fast. And I think they
well, because they want to keep up with the Bills.
Yeah, and they have to. And I think the Dolphins might be leading the division by the end of week 1. But that's just week 1. We'll get into that later on.
Yeah.
Your player.
My AFC player is kind of curtailing off of what Scott was saying, and I'm saying Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson has a very broad spectrum of what he could do this year.
He's probably got more pressure on him to do well.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
Than he's ever had.
Yeah.
So he talks about
he just got paid huge. There's the talk of him saying, like you were just mentioning about him saying that he was tired of being on a team that made him do everything.
Right.
And again, this is similar to the way Tua is. He's got plenty of weapons. He's got great running backs behind him.
A strong defense.
Strong line.
Yep.
Like, if Russell Wilson comes out and plays like he did at the second half of last year, that's going to be an issue for that team.
There's never been a better team around Russell Wilson. And I love the teams that I've had, but there's never been a better team around Russell Wilson. Well, so
maybe year 2 for him when you guys went to the Super Bowl and won. That was a pretty fucking good.
Was a pretty fucking good team. Yeah. That defense was unbelievable. Doug Baldwin, Jermaine Kearse, and Percy Harvin. That whole mess.
Yeah.
Golden Tate still.
Yeah. Marshawn running like a fucking maniac.
Yeah.
Some of the number 1 paid offensive line in the league. Ow.
I will say that I will 100% say this. Marshawn Lynch was one of the most entertaining running backs to watch.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Yes. So much fun.
It is fun to watch Derrick Henry snatch souls.
Yes.
But watching Marshawn beast mode on a regular basis, at least one time a game where he would just slip. Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just shove people off.
He does this weird thing where Derrick Henry will just put the guy into the ground.
Yeah.
Marshawn Lynch sort of pushes off the guys and like slides around everything, and then
it's like a more fluid
speed.
motion.
It is, man, but it is.
It was so entertaining to watch.
You know what? Sorry, Derek. Why do I know this? The PA probably won't allow it, but they should put on their home field start spray painting tombstones where he's sidearm people into the ground.
That would be
awesome.
That
dude.
would be really good. They could probably here lies number 37.
Here lies Josh Norman.
Yeah, right.
It'd be still in there.
What else? You know, another thing would be cool if you could have custom helmets. Yeah. If guys could have custom helmets, and he had like a crown around the top of his helmet because he's fucking King Henry.
Right.
That would be really cool too.
Yeah. And why does that matter so much? You know what I mean? Like it's. But you can't even have custom socks, so we're not gonna let you have a custom helmet.
You can't have your sock fall down off of your knee, otherwise you get fined.
Anyway, Russell Wilson. I mean, on paper he should be fantastic. He should easily be a top 5 quarterback this year, easily, with the team that he's got and everything else.
Who's the front runner for MVP right now?
Josh Allen.
I believe it is Josh Allen.
I wonder how high Russell Wilson is on that list.
Probably not that high.
Because he never fucking wins.
Because he never gets it.
He's never got a vote for MVP.
Right.
Yeah. But
which, as much as shit as I like to give him right now, is a tragedy.
He could absolutely come out this year though and be the front runner for MVP.
Yeah.
I mean, depending on how this team does,
He'll
right
be
off
the
the
front
bat.
runner for sure at some point through the first 8 weeks.
Yeah, probably.
And then
it'll drop off. Yeah.
Bye week. And goodbye.
So, I mean, everything looks like he's going to do great, but he could absolutely just fall apart.
Yeah.
This team could absolutely have just paid somebody to be complete shit.
Yeah.
New coach this year as well, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So moving on to the NFC, my guy is Alvin Kamara. And this is assuming that he plays a full season like we think he's going to do. So I'm trying to pick guys that aren't at injury risk. Like CMC is like, of course, the number one, widest range of outcomes because CMC can have that injury at any moment, but there's also so much going on with CMC. I was trying to go outside of injury because I assume one of you guys is going to go that way as well. Alvin Kamara has a lot of unknowns around him now. Jameis Winston is going to do whatever Jameis Winston's going to do. And Jameis Winston might end up being a top 10 quarterback.
Could be. Yeah.
And he could be a bottom 45 quarterback.
You also, you know who I have not seen drafted once? Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And he could easily be a top 10 quarterback this year.
Yes, he's had many years of being top fantasy talent.
He was a top 10 quarterback when he threw for 30 interceptions.
Yeah, because he had to throw the ball so often to make up for.
Yes,
it was awesome to be. Who was he playing for? He was
Tampa.
Yeah, it was Tampa.
Yeah, it was when he was out there just hucking the ball over and over and over again, just fearlessly throwing it down the field.
Granted, he couldn't see, so he was just throwing it.
Yeah.
So Alvin Kamara needs Michael Thomas to do well, needs Jameis Winston to do well, and
Chris Olave to do well.
And
Chris Olave it looks pretty decent too. So
yeah.
I think the Saints could be.
But if Jameis Winston doesn't have that linchpin spot, then none of the other pieces are going to work because Alvin Kamara is not a put the team on your back and run.
It doesn't. Yeah. I mean, he should be able to, but he's also getting up there in age at this point.
Yep.
For running back age.
Yep.
And he's gotten a lot of work.
He's gotten a lot of reception work though, and so that's not the same as carries, and but he can still do that if the coaches do well and if the coaches put them all in the right position. We talk about,
and this is the first year without Peyton, so it's kind of hard to know exactly what route that goes.
Exactly. So anyway, so Alvin Kamara to me, it's built into his ADP right now. I think he's going as running back like 7 off the board right now, and
in the Megalo Bowl draft, which we'll get into a little bit, he was second, like the 205 pick.
Yeah, exactly. He's going. I think he went outside of our first round in our league too.
Yep.
So Saints, I'm leery of any Saints. I like the flyer on Michael Thomas if you don't have DeAndre Hopkins. I like the flyer on DeAndre Hopkins if you don't have, Michael Thomas. But Alvin Kamara could be great, and he could be absolutely gone this year.
Yeah. My NFC pick is Justin Fields. He looked a lot better in preseason, and it's hard to tell which direction. For fantasy, he's probably going to be pretty good because he has a rushing ability.
Right.
He loses Allen Robinson, but he gets an offensive-minded coach that isn't Matt Nagy, who was like Morongo 2 underneath Adam Gase, which was you never want to be in that same sentence.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think they're not gonna win their division, but I think they're gonna be a lot more competitive, and I could see him taking a bigger step year 2, or he could just be overwhelmed like he was last year and just disappear, and
Absolutely.
that team spiral into what every Bears fan
Not
is
to
used
mention the fact that the wide receiver core is super weak on that team.
Yeah,
so.
your number one, Darnell Mooney, fantastic. Cole
Yeah.
Kmet is a sleeper. Snap him in the later rounds. We've all been trying to target him.
I think Cole Kmet is going to be one of those really sneaky plays because of the fact that receiver core is so weak. It's going to be that dump off.
Yeah.
Because their running backs are not the super high end hand guys that you want.
Right.
They seem
not to say that they can't.
Yeah.
David Montgomery is going to be exactly what David Montgomery is going to be.
Good
this
serviceable back.
year. Assuming that they use him again.
And that's the whole thing is the
that's-
Bears have come out and said that they're not even sure where he fits into the scheme. So that's a tough thing to hear.
Especially if you're David Montgomery.
Right.
Yeah, man.
And you drafted him.
Yeah.
The wide receiver core past Cole Kmet and Darnell Mooney is what, Pascal or
I don't even know.
a couple people who came over
is
from
actual,
the Chiefs.
second
It's
on the
just
list.
not good.
Yeah.
But I think they're going to do better. We'll see. But because you get Justin Fields, he's going undrafted in some leagues, or
Right.
you snag him as a backup, and maybe he starts putting together like a Jalen Hurts year 2, where the rushing upside is really starting to push their ability.
Darnell Mooney, wide receiver 2 is Byron Pringle.
I knew you came from the Chiefs.
KC,
Give St. Brown.
Yeah, St. Brown.
Yep.
East St. Brown.
Yeah.
Those are your.
He came over from the Lions, didn't he?
Equanimous St. Brown.
Dante Pettis is there now.
There was he that or the Browns, one of the two. I can't remember.
Yeah, I think he was Lions. I want to say he was Lions. I could be wrong, but
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, that's who I'm thinking NFC.
Green Bay.
NFC for me, like Scott said, is CMC,
Yeah.
and it's purely on the injury.
Right.
We can't talk about highest or lowest
Without talking
fantasy
about the
outcomes
highest.
without talking about CMC. CMC, if he stays healthy this year and plays all year,
Yeah.
100% will be the number one running back.
He'll be the top 5, 100%. He'll be the top 1. Probably has 90% odds to be the top running back.
If he stays healthy all year, because that's just who he is. That guy can put up so many points.
He has to be thrilled that Baker Mayfield's there.
Yeah, absolutely. He has everything that he needs to be top 3 no matter what running back if he's healthy.
Yeah.
But the problem is 2 years in a row now he hasn't been able to stay healthy, and he's missed basically 2 full years other than a few games.
Is it quad or a hamstring and then ankle?
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm banking on this year him. My hope is, and this is somewhat just pure hopes and dreams, but that they kept him out last year and they just said, "Fuck it, we're done this year."
Yeah.
Like,
We're not winning.
Sam Darnold is seeing ghosts, and there's no reason to risk your injury, our $20 million running back, for this right here. So no, I 100% agree. It's absolutely necessary to have CMC on this list because he has the greatest chance of being the number 1 running back. And if he plays 15 games this season,
He'll
probably will be.
Right. And then we're just going to briefly talk on teams that we think have the best possibility to either maybe even go to the Super Bowl.
Right.
Or
deep playoff run at worst.
Or finish last in their division, basically.
Yes.
For me, I'm just going to list off both of mine.
Yeah.
I have the Ravens.
Yeah.
The Ravens on paper could easily make a deep run.
Absolutely, they could.
But they're in a tougher division than they have been.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on what happens with the Steelers and Mitch Trubisky, that still could be a very good team.
Right.
We talked about it, about the Bears in general, and the fact that they were being run by the second worst coach in the league for a very long time. And that was basically all of Mitch Trubisky's time.
Yeah.
If Mike Tomlin believes in the guy,
Even Big Ben believed in him.
Pretty decent.
You lost me there. But, Tomlin believes in him. And then,
outside of him, the rapey side, Big Ben was a good NFL quarterback.
Yeah, 5 years ago.
So the division's tough. Obviously, you got the Bengals and you got the Browns.
Yep.
We don't like to talk about the Browns, but
but it's a good team. I mean, and when Deshaun Watson does come back and play, maybe not this year, but next year, he's going to be a great quarterback again.
Yeah, it's going to be a stout division, especially once the Steelers have another year under their belt, and you'll see what the Bengals can do again this year.
What's the new quarterback's name in Steelers?
Pickett.
That's right. Yeah. So
who's listed third on the depth chart.
on the depth? Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not going to count Mike Tomlin out. I feel like he's going to win at least 9 games because that's just what he does.
He
doesn't matter what roster.
Never failed.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what roster he's doing. He won 9 games when Mason Rudolph played most of the season.
Yeah.
So
with a caved-in skull.
Exactly.
So that's something.
Yeah. So I
think his worst season was 8-8.
Yeah. I feel like the Ravens should be the number 1 team in that division, but they could absolutely fall apart.
Yeah, and that's the same.
And because they had so many injuries last year, that could still haunt them this year.
Yeah, right.
So, and then my NFC team is the Panthers.
Sort of for the same reason as CMC.
Sort of for the same reason as CMC. If CMC stays healthy, that helps out everybody on the field. 100%.
Yeah,
Sam Darnold actually looked decent when CMC was on the field.
Right.
Because that's what CMC does. He makes everybody around him better.
He's an amplifier.
Right. Yeah, he's the amplifier, and because everybody on the defense has to pay attention to him. Mm-hmm. You know, and if you're not aware of where CMC is, then he's probably in the end zone already.
Right. And that team is probably third or if not fourth on everybody's depth chart right now as far as that division.
Oh yeah.
But they could easily get into
they could pull
second.
that out.
They could get into first depending on what happens. I mean, they could take that whole division. So they've got a stout defense. They've got playmakers. They've got a decent quarterback, we believe.
They've got angry Baker Mayfield. And I think that angry Baker Mayfield is going to be a guy that this is going to be a huge season for him. If he is either going to be a long-term NFL quarterback or he's done this year.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to that. My NFC team is the Cowboys because they just inevitably, they always find themselves in this exact same position, which is we are where the division is in the NFC East. They've got bad teams, they've got good teams, and they're all sort of finally elevating a little bit in the NFC East. The Cowboys had all of these great tools that were finally healthy and coming back.
Yep.
And then they started losing their offensive line. And so that's the part where
they couldn't sign him because of Zeke.
Well, it's that their offensive line started getting hurt this year. Their first and their second stringers.
And they lost two big guys off the line because they couldn't afford them.
Yeah, Zeke is expensive for a running back, but he's not like quarterback expensive. I mean, what did he cost? $18 million a year, $17 million a year, something like that.
They're pretty tight on their salary cap because of Dak and Zeke's contract. So, anytime you overpay a running back,
anytime you overpay a single position, if you're going to pay a position in the top 5 of its category, you're going to have to take that somewhere else, and so that's where that's where these guys have ended up. Without the injuries that have happened this year, I'd be much stronger on them. But that offensive line took a hit in the offseason and then has been getting hit even harder by injuries already.
100%. I had him on my short list on that too.
Yeah.
They lose Amari Cooper.
Uh-huh.
Cedric Wilson's gone. Mm-hmm. So you now have CeeDee Lamb who's been good, but hasn't taken that like elite step. You have who else on Gallup coming back from ACL.
Right.
Jalen Tolbert, a rookie. Dalton Schultz. And your offensive line, they just signed Peters. So to shore up that left tackle spot.
Okay.
But he was retired. He was an older player. Still probably good.
Yeah.
But not going to be Tyron Smith good.
Right. And
Dak struggles when Tyron Smith is out of the game.
So with these guys, but we've got a healthy wide receiving core. We have Gallup being the question mark. We have a healthy running back. Tony Pollard is looking great as well, and he's apparently been playing a lot more in the slot position. Mm-hmm. So he might take another chunk out of Ezekiel. So as a fantasy manager, I don't love that, but as a football manager, I love to hear that. As an actual football game, you want to see the balance between those two. Dak is fully healthy. This team has all of the pieces except for an offensive line to make everything happen. Their defense is okay.
They lost a couple big players after Gregory was gone, who was there, and then all of a sudden, nope, they saw the contract and the verbiage in it, and it's gone. And Trayvon Diggs is not that good of a cornerback.
Right. He led the league in interceptions last year, which is great, but he also led the league in yards given up. So,
which is not a good.
It's not a great stat. So, Cowboys were that team, and then my other team was the Raiders. And that's because inevitably you have to pick any team in the AFC West for this list because there has to be somebody that ends at the back of that division. There has to be. But each one of those teams could go toe-to-toe with almost every other team in the league. And so I believe that the Raiders are probably at the bottom of those four, and that's nothing negative on the Raiders. But for them,
it's just a stacked division.
It's just a stacked division. So they gotta hope that the division cannibalizes itself, and that they end up on top of that, on that pile. And then they need a couple of games to break their way, and they'll be in the playoffs. And if they get the right scheduling, if they get the right matchups, things like that, I can see them making a deep playoff run, and I can see them absolutely whiffing on the playoffs because they're the fourth seed in the AFC West.
Yeah, in that division, the winner of the division is going to have to just barely at least get above 500 in division.
In division, yes.
So, and that's going to be
no
hard
small
to do.
task.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for my teams, I'll stay NFC off real quick. I was thinking Cowboys, but mine's the Bucks. They lost
another
offensive line issues. Tom Brady issues. He's there, then gone, and then comes back, doesn't look quite himself. You got a wide receiver core that they cut Tyler Johnson. Godwin might be back, but Chris Evans usually always has some type of hamstring issue.
Yeah.
That team has been off and on injured for everybody in the wide receiver core.
Yes.
You don't have Gronk. He's gone. Cameron Brate is not the same. Julio Jones is there, but who knows?
Also another person who's off and on injured all the time.
Exactly. And not to say take away from Tom Brady, but he's 45.
Right.
But and the one
at some point, Father Time will catch up to him.
It has to. And
even with all that avocado ice cream.
Yeah. The biggest thing with Tom Brady, and the Dolphins have shown this before, is you put pressure, you hit him, especially coming up in the interior line. He fucking falls. He does not perform well. On that. Right. So you get frustrated. You get him frustrated, and then it kind of starts steamrolling. So
you start seeing him throwing Amazon or
the tablets,
tablets
Surface.
Yeah.
The Bucks and Cowboys play week 1. Fantastic right off the rip. So you're going to see which team comes out. I'll probably give the Bucks a little edge there, but their division is not as easy as it used to be. But Carolina could challenge
Yes.
Especially with some of they got better on the wide receiver. They have probably one of the, if not the best running back in the league. They can challenge there. Atlanta, probably not, but they
Probably
can
not
make
challenge,
they can make it competitive.
right, right.
And the Saints are right there that could challenge them. So I don't think they're the cakewalk anymore. And I think they have kind of the dominoes starting to head in the opposite direction. They could absolutely make a Super Bowl run.
Yeah,
And they also could miss the playoffs.
yeah.
Like that's a realistic thing there. In the AFC, I'm saying AFC East, and it's really kind of between two teams. It ties in with Tua. Miami, obviously, because it's all on paper. They have a fantastic roster. You just don't know which way they're going to go.
Yep.
And that all hinges off of Tua.
Yep.
The one that I really want to focus on is the Patriots.
Yeah.
They've never had a losing season in like last 20 years, which is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
But the beat writers, you watch it in game, it's been rough. And it's a completely different offense. Mac Jones even said he's having a hard time understanding the playbook.
Yeah, Mac Jones, at least in preseason, and according to everybody else, has regressed from where he was last year.
Yeah, he came out of the gate last year pretty strong, but now in
they
year
simplified
two,
it. Yeah, and now they have Pat Patricia, who he did a really good job at the Lions, right, guys? Not so much.
Not quite,
Defensive coach now as a co-offensive coordinator. So you got muddling the water there. Your wide receiver core still didn't get any better. They got Devontae Parker, but that's not it. Dolphins just that was their extra player they didn't want, and they traded him away.
right?
Your running back core, decent, but you lost someone off offensive line. Your defense took a hit this year, and you have kind of like, what the fuck are we doing when your own beat writers are saying like, this is a rough camp.
Yeah,
And especially watch that Raiders game where Mac Jones rolls out and he throws towards Kendrick Bourne, but he has 6 fucking Raiders around him on a perfect completion to the linebacker. So
It was a great pass.
it was a great pass.
beautiful.
They have a very hard week 1 because even when the Dolphins fucking sucked, they always had the Patriots number.
They always played tough against the
When
And-
they're in Miami, it's always a tough game for
Are
the
they
Patriots.
starting in Miami this year?
Yep.
Okay.
And last year, the Dolphins beat them both times too. But
Yeah.
I think this could be a season where, because they don't start out with an easy schedule. I think that, let me see, the Patriots schedule. So they're gonna go.
I mean, the thing is, the division's no longer easy for the Patriots, and that's
No.
what it was for so many years.
For a lot of the last 20 years, is they didn't have to deal with the Bills. They didn't have to deal with the
the Bills were
with the
nothing, the
Dolphins.
Jets were nothing, and the
Yeah.
Dolphins sometimes were competitive.
Yeah, and now you got the Bills definitely on top.
Yeah.
The Dolphins could challenge that.
Uh-huh.
And they did nothing to add to it, and they're going. I think Belichick retires after the season, honestly, but I think
Could
it's
happen.
headed the opposite direction. They start off in Miami, and they go from Miami, then they go. They play the Steelers, Ravens, Packers.
Yeah.
They could be
That's
0 and
that's
4.
a tough 4 game.
Dolphins have a hard one too because they're going Patriots, Ravens, Bills, Bengals.
Yeah.
So,
Well, speaking of week 1, let's get into our week 1 predictions here.
we are 3 days away
3 days away.
from
football.
Yeah.
the start of and what should be a very good game.
Yes.
Yes.
We've got the Bills against the Rams in LA. Buffalo is 2.5-point favorites going to the defending Super Bowl winners.
I have a feeling like that's the elbow.
Over under is 52.5.
Speaking of Matt Stafford and his elbow is the big concern right here right now. They've been talking about this last week that they've been talking about how this is going to be a long season managing that elbow. They haven't said what it is. They just keep saying that there's something wrong.
And Stafford said it came out and said like it's nothing to worry about.
Yeah, he said it's nothing to worry about, and yet they keep mentioning.
Well, and
that
they
it's
came
nothing
out
to worry
today
about.
and said that he's not going to have any limitations.
Yeah.
So
at least in week 1.
Sure, but let's not forget that his season, the season end week. Oh my gosh, I guess it would be 16 Just go pull it up here real quick so I don't talk out my ass here. But his last 3 weeks of the regular season were garbage.
Yeah, they weren't great.
Yeah.
I want to say
I know that because I had him as my quarterback.
I want to say that he threw. There we go. Yeah, he had week 16. Let's start with week 15. 1 interception. Week 16, 3 interceptions, 2 interceptions, 2 interceptions. So he had in the last 4 weeks, he had 8 interceptions thrown.
Yeah.
He ended the season on 17 interceptions. So he was like,
He threw a
gross.
third of them in 3 games.
yes, it was gross that last couple of games there.
Yeah.
So that's my concern with the Rams is which Matt Stafford are you going to see? Obviously, we respect the guy's talent, obviously, but if he's the guy that's going to be throwing a handful of a couple of interceptions each week, you're not going to win games that way.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why I see the Bills having the edge there right now is the decline last year and the unknowing of the elbow this year, and then the defense, right? The defense is so good at the Rams, right? So that's the part that keeps it so close. I'm going to take the Bills on this one, even though part of me thinks it's a coin toss for me, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Rams.
I have been leaning Bills. I've been leaning the Bills since I heard about this matchup. So I think I'm just going to stick with the Bills. I think the offense is still going to be good enough
Yeah.
to. I think the way the Bills are set up, in the sense that Josh Allen is a mobile, big ass quarterback.
Yeah.
Donald isn't going to be able to disrupt him enough.
Yeah. Are they playing in LA?
It is in LA.
Yeah.
So,
Otherwise, I think
but we all know how well a home game works out for the Rams.
Right.
Even after a Super Bowl win,
Right.
there's still probably going to be more Bills fans than Rams
Right.
fans in that stadium.
All right. So we got 2-1
Yeah.
against the Rams right now. Okay. All right. What's the over/under on that one? Did you write that down?
52.5.
It's going to be a good game.
But it should be a good game, and that's Thursday night.
Yep.
Oh my God, dude.
It's a great start.
Oh.
Great fucking start.
Oh.
It's going to be a fantastic way to start the season. Next up, we've got the Eagles at the Lions. Philly is 4-point favorites with a 48.5 point over/under.
Even with Hard Knocks and the Lions were looking on the upswing at the end of last season, I'm still taking Eagles here. I think
I feel
Eagles
like
had
we're
it
all
too
taking
much.
Eagles in this one.
I kind of want to take the Lions just to make it different. What's the spread?
4
4
points.
points.
I'm gonna take the Lions and the points.
All right.
Where are they at?
At
They're
Lions.
they're in Detroit.
All right. I'm gonna get that Hard Knocks hype, and
Yeah.
take the Lions.
Next up, we've got the 49ers in Chicago. 49ers are 7-point favorites, which I don't like. But it is a 41-point over/under, so they are expecting a low-scoring,
So glad I bet that
defensive
at
game.
5.5.
right?
Wow.
I think the Niners. I'm going to take the Niners here, and
am.
the reason why is that their team is more cohesive. Same coach.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got a new quarterback, but you have all your weapons still there.
Yeah,
and
it's got to be the Niners. It's got. I tried to talk myself into a 7-point spread.
When
like,
when you have Mooney and Komet, my defense can shut that down.
yeah,
yes.
100%. My defense can shut that down, and that still leaves Warner in the middle,
Yeah.
yeah.
just to fucking wreak havoc.
Yes. Yeah.
That's along with the fact that our D line is going to absolutely destroy most offensive lines.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
At least at the start of the season before everybody gets hurt.
Yeah. And the Bears defense is not the Bears defense of the last few years. It's they're going to get manhandled, I think, a little bit here.
Yeah. Next up, we've got the Patriots in Miami. Miami is 3-point favorites, 46.5 point over under.
I'm taking the Dolphins, and I would not be surprised if the Dolphins win by 2 touchdowns because they want to make a point.
I'm also taking the Dolphins. Yeah, okay, everybody's taking the Dolphins. Then we've got the Colts going to the Texans. Indy is 8-point favorites with a 46-point over-under.
When I bet this, I took the under of 46 because I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring affair. But, 8 points? So God, they bet the shit out of that.
I don't feel like it's going to need to be a high-scoring affair, personally.
No.
I like Davis Mills, and I like some of the things that...
Yeah.
I will be interested to see Pierce
The Texans are one of those
in a
teams
in a full game.
Yeah, the Texans are the team that give them issues. Like, they should have won their division. They missed the playoffs like last year.
That was the Jags.
Jags.
That's the Jags.
They also lost to Houston like a couple weeks before, too.
Yeah.
I don't like the 8 points, honestly.
I don't either. That's a lot of points, dude.
Yeah. I'm going to... I think the Colts win. I'll say that they're going to come out on fire. I'll say Colts with the points. I won't be surprised if I lose it.
All right, so Scott's going to take the Texans. I think the Colts have enough. That defense is ridiculous.
And I give Matt Ryan over Carson Wentz last year.
Yeah, and the Colts have one of the best O-lines in the league, so I feel like the Colts should be able to beat this by 8 points.
Should be able to. I'm going to take the Texans here with because they've lost a few pieces in Indy, and then they lost Leonard.
No, Shaq Leonard's still there.
They lost one of their offensive linemen to retirement, but
yeah.
No, there was a defensive player that I was thinking of. One of their big guys. And then they changed up the quarterback.
Yeah, but
you have to say Matt Ryan's an upgrade.
Yeah, Matt Ryan is an upgrade.
I agree,
from
but week
Wentz.
1 upgrade is different than overall upgrade.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm taking the Texans.
Yeah, I get it. 8 points is a lot of points.
It's a lot of points.
The Colts could still handedly win that game, and then the Texans just eke inside that 8 point
field goal, and I win my bet.
Right.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got the Ravens at the Jets. Ravens are 7-point favorites with a 44.5 point over under.
I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to take the Ravens. No Zach Wilson.
I'm taking the Ravens. Zach Wilson might play.
You might play? Then
Might play.
Then I'm definitely taking the Ravens.
I think it would be better if Flacco played that game.
Flacco apparently had a pretty good camp when Wilson was out.
And it sounded like the receivers liked Flacco better, too.
Yeah.
Ooh,
He
God,
said
that
they are
sucks.
more a better
Yeah.
catchable ball.
Yeah.
I can't go with the Jets. I just
thought
can't
about
do
it, though,
I
didn't you?
did. I wanted to.
Jets sucks.
Next up, we've got Green Bay visiting the Vikings.
Ooh. See,
Right
this
out of the
is-
gate.
Now remember, last year, week 1, Green Bay got absolutely destroyed week 1.
But
Everybody talks shit. Who was that against?
I don't know. I'll look it up.
Yeah.
I'm with Vikings on this.
Green Bay is 1.5 point favorites, so it is a close.
They've got that one
game.
very close.
It
yeah.
is a 48 point over under.
I give it to they're at home in the Dome, and they have a more offensive-minded coach now. I think the receivers for the Vikings are better than.
Oh,
Hands
it's
down.
Saints.
Yeah,
But
that's
Saints
right.
worked them 3-38.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I'm taking Vikings.
I am also going Vikings on this one. We've all been pretty adamant that we think the Vikings are going to win the division this year.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first step. If the Vikings can't win this game,
Yeah.
Or at least make it competitive. Yeah, I'll take the Vikings too. I don't want to go out on a limb too many times. Get out of the gate fucking minus 7 on you
Well,
guys.
so far you're out on a limb with the Lions and the Texans.
I know, right? Like, that's a pretty big-ass limb.
No, I don't think it's a big ass limb. I think it's a pretty flimsy limb that you're out on right now. It's about ready to break on you.
You took a kicker in the second round.
Next up, I'm really interested to see because I feel like one's gonna go one way and the one's gonna go the other. We got Las Vegas going to the Chargers. Chargers are 3.5-point favorites, and it's a 52-point over/under.
I'm going to take the Chargers.
Okay, that's
Just because the Raiders are more of a prove it, see how it works. I think it's going to be one of those like fucking 31 to like 20.
He's already looking at me because he's like, "You just love the Raiders, don't you?" I'm taking the Chargers.
really.
I'm taking the Chargers.
All right.
I've been saying it all off season. I don't like the offense of. I don't like all of the question marks that the offense has on the Raiders. On paper, it's going to be a great offense, but now we have to see it all execute right.
Yeah.
Is Devontae Adams that good, or was Aaron Rodgers that good?
All right, I'm on my first limb with the Raiders.
Ooh, oh
Yep.
my God.
Yep.
All right, here we go.
Next up, we've got Pittsburgh visiting the Super Bowl losers.
I'm going to take the Bengals on this. They just got better, and the Steelers went backwards a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
What's the spread?
It is Cincinnati by 6.5 points,
Yeah.
and it is a 44-point over/under.
I'll take the Bengals on that.
Yeah, I'll take the Bengals.
Yeah, I can't. It's not enough. It's
can't do it.
close.
Yeah,
I feel like if it was 7.5,
yeah.
I would take the Steelers, but that it's 6.5.
That was my line too. Is if it was
Just
a
have to
touchdown,
win by
I
a
would-
touchdown,
yep.
yeah.
Yo, Amanda, what's up? How you doing?
Next up, we've got Cleveland.
Oh my God, how is your girl that old now? I saw that photo. Holy shit. She's a baby. She was a baby like 10 minutes ago, and now she's fucking like 40 years old. What happened to your kid? Oh my God.
Next up, we've got the Browns going to the Panthers. I know how I want this game to go. Carolina is 2.5-point favorites.
I am
41.5-point over.
I am 1,000,000,000% taking Carolina.
Carolina. Sweet Carolina.
Next up will be an interesting one because we'll see two teams that we haven't really seen yet. We got New Orleans going against Atlanta. New Orleans is 5.5-point favorites, which I feel like is a lot. And it's a 42.5-point over/under. I'm gonna say Atlanta wins this game. Not necessarily wins this game. I'm gonna say
Backdoor
Atlanta
cover. Yeah.
I'm gonna say Atlanta
What's it?
5.5 points.
Yeah, I'm taking Atlanta on that. On the cover.
Yeah, on the cover.
I'm taking the Saints.
All right.
I'll take the Saints on that then. Yeah, finally I get a safe one. Like,
Yeah.
that's a pretty safe limb to be
You
on.
get the favorite in that one.
Yeah. Finally, yes.
Next up, we've got the Jags going up against the Commies.
Ooh, Washington Commies.
Commies are 3-point favorites.
Give me the Jags.
44-point over/under.
Yeah,
It's in Washington.
I think with Doug Peterson in Jacksonville, straight up, Rich Eisen was 100%. Trevor Lawrence was ungradable last year because of fucking Urban Meyer. Just an absolute
makes sense.
train wreck.
I will say this. I'm going to vote the Jags to win this game purely because I have no Commies on my team.
Yeah.
And I have ETN on one of my teams.
So
Out
you're going
of
for-
protest,
Yeah.
I took him.
That's true. I'll take the Commies. I'm either going to be ahead or way behind. I'm on a limb 4 times now.
Yes. And 2 of them are favorites, at least.
All right.
Next up, we got the Giants going to the Titans. Tennessee is 5.5-point favorites, and it is a 43.5-point over/under.
You know what didn't get better this year on the Giants, besides mostly anything, is their defense. And I'm going to say that Derrick Henry is going to take a vacation all up in them. So I'm going to take Titans.
Say 3.5 points.
5.5 points.
5.5 points.
The Giants.
I'm also going with the Titans. I can't say the Giants are going to win this game, even within 5.5 points.
Not 5.5 points. No. I'm counting on a big bounce back year from Saquon.
And see, I have no faith, so it's fine.
You got no faith in the Saquon. I've got.
I think Saquon can. I have no faith in Daniel Jones.
Right. I agree with you there. Is it Jason Garrett still the coach over there?
He's an assistant. Like,
oh yeah, that's right. He's the
He's the
offensive.
OC.
Yeah.
You watch Kenny G not run smooth routes and looks like a mannequin out there.
Yeah, that's never a good thing. When it says that your top wide receiver looks like a mannequin while he's running.
Yeah, that's not
That's
the best.
not a good
descriptive that
thing.
You want. Yeah,
No.
yeah.
Next up, we got KC going to Arizona.
I'm going to take KC here because there's a lot of injuries and question marks on Arizona.
KC is 4.5 point favorites.
That's it.
Yeah.
Wow, they're hating on KC. They really think that Tyreek is a big hit there, right? I mean,
I
that's
feel like, yeah.
because what you have is you have KC without Tyreek going against Arizona without any of their wide receivers.
Yeah, except for Hollywood Brown.
Yeah, it's really hard to.
It's got to be KC. It's got to be KC. It's not a big enough.
In all fairness, we all said that the Titans were going to destroy KC week 1 last year.
It's true.
And then KC came out and
Shit the bed.
Jones had 5 sacks.
5 sacks. Ended the season with 8 sacks. Remember that, like, the number one waiver ad that week was Arizona.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was rough.
Next up, we've got the Buccaneers going to Dallas. Buccaneers are only 1.5 point favorites, though.
I think that's a
It is
reflection
a 50 point over under.
reflection of all the issues that both teams have. I'm going to take the Bucks. I'm going to give it the edge to Tom Brady. But I really wouldn't be surprised if it goes either direction.
Cowboys.
I'm looking forward to the NFL memes starting right off the bat with Tom Brady. How about them boys?
How about them boys? Yeah.
Tom Brady right in the bottom center.
Yeah.
Wait for that Kyler Murray head to pop up somewhere.
Yeah, that little guy down there.
I'm gonna say Bucks.
Yeah, boys are gonna take it though. You guys are wrong.
I was watching a sports card opening, and there's a pack Legacy that sometimes have these mini cards in them. They're like, it's, this big. The guy was opening up, and
it was Kyler.
He's an Arizona fan. And he's like, oh look, it's a Kyler. It's a full size card.
Oh shit, that's funny. Yeah, no, honestly, I actually feel very strongly about that. I mean, a 1 point dog.
Yeah, 1.5 point dog.
It's a basic pickup.
I think they should be favorites in this game, and not on a neutral field and not on a neutral day, but
Right.
but going first game of the season, this Cowboys team versus that Bucks team, I'm all about the Cowboys.
I think outside of that, I think because you have Gallup maybe coming back, but probably not. You only really have CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
We haven't seen Zeke coming back from this injury yet,
Sure.
but you have Mike Evans, who on paper is healthy right now. You have Julio Jones, who on paper is healthy right now. Godwin, I mean, he may make one game.
He may make one quarter.
He might, but he might have 2 touchdowns.
Screw, he might.
Yeah, I think
Godwin, do we know if he's going to be back yet? I think he is. I think he's just going to be on a snap count.
It looks like he's going to be ready for week 1, but not. I mean, he's out of his brace, so I would assume that's the good sign. Like, hey, you don't need to be in your brace anymore, but maybe he'll be on a snap count type thing.
My favorite game of the week.
Monday night game. We got the
Favorite game of the
Broncos going against the Seattle Seahawks.
I'm gonna take them.
Oh, I know you.
I'm gonna take the Seahawks. What's the spread though? How bad is it?
Denver by 6.
What?
It's not even that bad. Like, and
my
I bet
God.
that's because I think it was pretty bad, and I bet a lot of people bet that under for Seattle.
There's a lot of hopeful Seahawks fans out there right now.
You usually don't see a lot of like double-digit point spreads in the NFL.
Right, certainly not in week 1.
Yeah, I'm going to take Denver here.
I'm not gonna judge you guys. It's okay. I understand. I respect it.
It's hard to bet on Geno Smith.
It's hard to bet on the Seahawks right now. I know you want to support me, but it's okay, man.
No, it's not even that I want to support you. I want to see the Seahawks beat Russell
right?
Wilson.
Right?
But I can't.
Yep. 6 point dogs, 6.5.
6 point.
6 point. Okay. All right. We got to keep it within.
No, you know what? I think they'll keep it within 6 points.
Okay.
I'm going Seahawks.
Going Seahawks. There it is. There it is. All right. I feel good about this. Like, I'm so excited for this game, man. Like, we're going to, you know what? I might actually have to bow out of the podcast that night and just fucking.
Well, we might actually need to do it Sunday night.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, because you get the whole kid thing going on. So,
and my wife does not work next Sunday.
Okay.
So it would probably be easier if I just did it, if we were able to do it Sunday night rather than Monday night next week.
Okay.
And then maybe what we'll do is we'll do a midweek just audio podcast to, on Tuesday or whatever to cover the last couple of things.
Yeah.
All right, we'll give that a shot. See if that works. Fuck, man, that's sick, dude. I'm so excited for Monday Night Football. So, but that means you've got kids that you're on kid duty Monday night. Mm-hmm. So that means we're watching the game at your house. Mm-hmm. Do you have? What's Monday Night Football going to be on?
ABC. I have it.
You got it.
We're good.
Yeah. Dope. All right, so that's week 1. Week 1 football, man.
Yep.
I'm fucking excited here. Good. We actually made good time too, so you can be able to get home.
Yep.
At a decent time. We're super excited about this season. Hey, I even got these things all lined up here.
Look at that.
So that's me. That's him. That's him. No, I am. Yeah, right. I'm so jacked, dude.
I'm so glad football's back.
We get week 1 fantasy football. We get week 1 football. I don't have hope this year for my season, but I have hope for this game.
Yeah.
And I'm just happy to see the Seahawks again.
I am terrified because the first time there's real hope for my team.
Yeah, right.
There is absolutely hope for your team.
It's the hope that kills you, right? Yeah. So
it's the same thing for my team.
Yep.
I have hope. I have a stout team.
Yes.
It all depends on my quarterback.
One thing I would love to see if Tua can hit a big deep bomb that Terry takes to the house.
Yeah.
He has to turn the camera
Like
and
first
just
play.
flexes his arm or something.
Yeah.
Like first play.
Yeah,
Just like
just be like,
70 yards.
I can't throw the ball. Can I? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, right? Just big digging it up and down the field. Yeah. Yeah.
In the preseason
What time
game, he threw.
is the Miami game? Is it's a morning game?
It's a morning game, yeah.
Okay.
So we're going to head over first thing in the morning?
yeah. Figure out. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
when we're gonna leave,
Is that casino? You still doing
Yeah,
that, or you want to
Yeah,
do something
because
else?
both of our games are morning games.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's cool with me. Let's do that.
Yeah, probably get there by 9 a.m. just because the sports book area.
Oh, yeah, it probably does fill up.
Fill up pretty quick.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm down. I still want to ride if you want to ride.
I don't have tags on my bike.
I don't have tags on my bike. I haven't had tags in a year and a half on my bike.
My tags have been expired since
You have a Harley.
January
You don't
of
give
next year.
You
Of last year.
you got a Harley. It doesn't matter. You're a 1%er now. All right, man. This is how we live outside the law.
Fair enough.
All right, so we're gonna take our bikes, and you won't because you're a loser. I'm really sorry.
I'll drive my new truck.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
All right, so so we will be back next week on Sunday night. And
I got 30 miles a gallon on that thing.
sick.
Fuck, I wish I got that in my truck.
Around town, I was averaging almost 21.
Is it like an eco motor or something?
It's a 3-liter Duramax. Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's
Okay.
the Duramax. So you got to pay out the ass for diesel right now.
At 519, it's not horrible, I guess.
It still sucks though.
It still sucks, but
Because it should be a hell of a lot lower than that.
Yeah.
But
because there's less work that goes into it. So I mean,
Yeah.
oh well.
that's why I never understood why diesel's more expensive, because it's easier to refine.
It's just supply and demand.
It
That's all it
absolutely
is.
is.
It's supply and demand, and the demand is not there.
Yeah.
So, anyway, we'll be back next Sunday night for the show, and then we'll probably show up, do an audio podcast on maybe Tuesday night. Just
I
do a
can't
quick
get over to do the podcast until after 6 o'clock on Sunday
on Sunday.
because
Okay.
my daughters go home at 6.
Oh, okay.
They get picked up,
Okay.
and I can head
You're getting
over.
picked up. Okay, so what time do you got to be back? Because we're gonna go over to the. We don't need to talk about this on the show.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We'll see you guys next week.
Later.
Later.